Naruto and Sasuke are an insanely powerful duo to the point where they have gone up against multiple otherworldly beings that are likened to gods, and not only have they survived, but most of the times they have actually come out on top of those battles. And that is why, in my opinion, the whole conversation of Thrag from Invincible being able to go up against not only Naruto, but Naruto and Sasuke simultaneously is so utterly preposterous. I truly cannot fathom why people believe Thrag is that powerful, but maybe even more importantly, why they think Naruto and Sasuke are that weak. And that's why today we're talking Naruto and Sasuke solo the Invincible verse. But before we get into anything, guys, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. Alright, getting into this battle, first and foremost, we need to establish the rules. So, the rules going into this fight will be very similar to the rules of the Naruto versus Thrag battle. We will only take into account the events that have happened up until the end of Season 4 of Invincible, and as for Naruto and Sasuke, they will be granted their highest form of power besides Naruto activating Baryon mode, because as we know that was only used for about 5 to 10 minutes, so in this hypothetical battle against an entire verse, it would be pretty useless. So Naruto and Sasuke will be adults in this hypothetical battle, and they will be going up against every single hero and every single villain from the Invincible verse up until the end of Season 4 of Invincible. So to properly break this down, I think we can all agree that a lot of characters in the Invincible verse would pretty much be one-shotted by essentially any attack that Naruto and Sasuke threw out there. If you aren't one of the 8 to 10 strongest Viltrumites, or maybe 8 to 10 strongest heroes, you are pretty much cannon fodder, and you can't do essentially anything against anyone. Even the Guardians of the Globe, especially the new ones, are relatively useless. But for the sake of this battle, to also make it a little bit more fair for the forces of the Invincible verse, this will not be a one-on-one battle or a one-on-two battle. This will be a free-for-all. All characters from Invincible coming after Naruto and Sasuke all at once. And I know you may be thinking that right off the bat, Naruto and Sasuke will be so totally overwhelmed by all of these characters coming at them. However, like I mentioned before, a lot of these characters from Invincible can quite literally be one-shotted by Naruto and Sasuke, not even using their strongest attacks. So some of those attacks that I feel like would be able to be utilized to thin the herd of these very weak characters would be some combination ninjutsu, like we've seen them use multiple times. Sasuke with his Inferno style flame control, mixed with Naruto's wind style Rasen Shuriken. This would be able to spread over a wide field and hit multiple people. And then Sasuke with his flame control, after the Amaterasu already hits multiple people, can control those flames of Amaterasu and have those flames expand so they can hurt more people. And even if you want to say that having all this Amaterasu would also be dangerous for Naruto on this battlefield, keep in mind that Naruto, when he was almost out of chakra, was able to put the Amaterasu on his Kurama chakra mode and simply let go of that piece of chakra. So Naruto is in virtually no danger. And not only that, Sasuke can quite literally control all of the Amaterasu that is on the battlefield. So this entire field of battle would be controlled by Naruto and Sasuke. Not to mention the fact that Sasuke has such precise flame control that he would be able to probably take out most of the cannon fodder from the Invincible verse just with this Amaterasu that is already spread throughout the battlefield. And even if he can't do it immediately, with the help of Naruto, with a combination ninjutsu attack like they used against Obito or just against the Ten Tails, whether it is the Inferno style Susanoo flame control mixed with Naruto's massive wind style Rasen Shuriken, or if it is that collaboration ninjutsu that they created together. I do not remember the name. Minato came up with a really strange name. It's like Nimbus Tempest, something like that. But if they utilize any of these combination ninjutsu, they are going to be able to take out so many enemies with relative ease. And honestly, even some of the more powerful characters in Invincible could be caught up in these blasts. Because keep in mind, Amaterasu will be able to affect even Viltrumites. I don't care if they are more durable. I don't care if they've been able to fly through the center of a planet and go straight through the core and receive virtually no damage. Because we have to keep something in mind. Those three Viltrumites, number one, are very high tier. Number two, they did not do it alone. Keep keep in mind they had to do it behind the power of Space Racer's laser, which definitely helped them at least a little bit. And while I'm not saying that Amaterasu would be an instant kill, especially on a Viltrumite, but what I am saying is that if they are hit with Amaterasu, aside from cutting off whatever limb was affected, if it hits their midsection at all, they are going to continue to burn until they die. The Amaterasu is a very unique ability because it has the ability to even burn fire. It will not stop burning until whatever is hit by it is turned to ashes. Unless you have a Karma marking or a Renegon, you will not be able to diffuse those flames, or unless you are Sasuke and have flame control. So considering that, Naruto and Sasuke would have relative ease taking out multiple enemies in this Invincible verse battle. However, something else I also haven't mentioned yet, Naruto during the course of the 4th Great Shinobi World War was able to create multiple Rasen Shuriken with multiple different nature releases from his respective tail beasts that he had a piece of inside of him. And he could create all of these simultaneously. He did this multiple times. In the battle against Kaguya, he did this and was able to land multiple attacks against her. And not only that, he was also able to create multiple tail beast bomb Rasen Shuriken that were able to destroy multiple asteroids with pinpoint precision and relative ease. And after doing this, it's not like Naruto was drained. It's not like Naruto was tired. He and Sasuke were still very able to continue battling. In fact, they had to continue fighting against Kaguya and against Madara. So realistically, going up against all of these characters would not mean a whole lot against Naruto and Sasuke. Like I mentioned, they would be able to relatively easily thin out this herd so very quickly because of their vast array of extremely powerful jutsu that it would realistically only come down to probably about 5 or 6 Viltrumites and maybe 4 or 5 other characters helping out those Viltrumites to go up against Naruto and Sasuke. Now, going up against those characters, would it be a little bit more difficult? Yeah, it would. Would they be able to one-shot all of these characters? No, probably not all of them. However, some of them could still definitely get one-shot. And realistically, even if you had a team going up against Naruto and Sasuke of Thrag, Omni-Man, Mark, Battle Beast, and Alan, they would still have an extremely hard time. And there are a couple reasons for this. So first and foremost, a very easy win state for Naruto and Sasuke going against even the strongest in the Invincible verse would be Sasuke's ability from the Renegon, which is the ability to teleport. He can open up portals to other dimensions. If you send multiple of these characters away into another dimension so that they can't return, that is a win state. If you cannot return to the field of battle, you automatically lose, especially because a lot of the spaces that we've seen Sasuke be able to access aren't only very far away, they're actually a lot of times in an entirely different dimension, which means unless you have someone like Angstrom Levy who can go throughout the different multiverses and different dimensions, you would not be able to get out of wherever Sasuke traps you. And before anyone says, well, Sasuke wouldn't be able to get them to go through this portal, I need to remind you that Naruto can also make thousands of shadow clones, and not only can he make shadow clones, he can make them extremely durable. We saw during the 4th Great Shinobi World War that Naruto's clones were able to sustain actual damage. And before you say, yeah, but when he was an adult, Naruto's clones got taken out relatively easily by Jigen. This is extremely different. And it's not because Jigen is so astronomically strong he was able to do it. A lot of those clones were actually taken out by chakra rods that Jigen was firing. And what do we know about chakra rods? They quite literally attack the chakra, which is the only thing that shadow clones are made up of. So if they hinder your usage of chakra, it makes sense that shadow clones would instantly disappear when hit by them. So considering the fact that no one from the Invincible universe is able to utilize chakra rods or even anything similar to chakra rods, it would stand to reason that not a single person could one-shot Naruto's shadow clones. And considering the fact that there would quite literally be thousands of them, it would be relatively easy for Sasuke and Naruto to get multiple characters through this portal to create a pretty easy win state for both of them. However, that is not the only practically instant win state that these two would be able to accomplish. Another win state that would be relatively easy would be Sasuke placing a lot of these high up characters under Genjutsu. Because as I've mentioned before in the past in previous videos, although we do not know if the Invincible characters would be able to be affected by Genjutsu, it should theoretically work. Because although they are in different universes, therefore Invincible obviously has no access to chakra, we know from what Naruto has stated that all living things have chakra, that all living things are binded by chakra. So theoretically, if these two universes were to exist in the same dimension, it would stand to reason that all of the characters in Invincible, although they may not have access to use chakra, they would theoretically have some chakra inside of them, because at at the end of the day, they are still living beings. And as explained in Boruto, chakra is something that binds all living things together. It is inside of everyone. So with all that being said, it would stand to reason that Sasuke would be able to place a lot of characters under Genjutsu. And once they're under Genjutsu, Naruto can quite literally just pick them up, put them through a portal, and they're probably going to die in whatever dimension they're left in. Or if they want to be a little bit more brutal, they could just quite literally off every single character while they're stuck in Genjutsu. Because keep in mind, Sasuke's Genjutsu is so incredibly powerful that he was able to place Sakura in the 4th Great Shinobi World War under a Genjutsu that she could not break out of. Sakura, who has been shown since the early days of Naruto to have an extreme resistance to Genjutsu. Not to mention the fact that during the Naruto the Last movie, even Naruto was placed under a Genjutsu, something that Jinchuriki are not supposed to be able to have happen to them. However, he ended up being saved by Sakura because she had so much resistance to the Genjutsu that she was able to break out of it even when a perfect Jinchuriki Naruto was not able to do so. So the mere fact that Sasuke was able to do that to Sakura just showcases his true ability when it comes to Genjutsu. So because of all that, I feel like Naruto and Sasuke once again have a relatively easy and very quick win state, giving them 2 practically instant win states in this battle. However, even if they do have to actually fight this fight and can't just teleport everyone away or place everyone under Genjutsu, they would still have a ton of power and a huge advantage. Naruto has thousands of shadow clones, all of which can use KCM2. They can even use Sage of Six Paths Chakra. And while they can do this, they can utilize all his pretty crazy jutsu. So if Naruto has thousands of clones spamming all of these different moves, they would be able to not only thin the herd, but also take out some of the strongest members of the Invincible verse. And not to mention the fact that they also have Sasuke. And keep in mind that Naruto and Sasuke are so in sync during battle that they are able to switch in and out between one another and do it with relative ease. One will be going on the attack and Sasuke will switch out just to defend, or vice versa. These are 2 shinobi who know how each other think and know how each other battles. They know their strengths and they know their weaknesses. They will be able to cover up virtually any weakness that the Invincible verse is able to see within Naruto and Sasuke, and they would be able to defend against whatever the people from Invincible try to do against both of them. And I know I mentioned collaboration ninjutsus before. However, one thing that I realistically don't think anyone from Invincible would be able to stand up against, aside from maybe Thrag, would be the Majestic Attire Susanoo. This is something that has done so much damage, it was even able to break through Obito's shield, which was said to be able to block any and every attack. And yes, I know they technically had the help of the Konoha 12 using Naruto's Rasengan. However, keep in mind also that was a slightly weaker version of Sasuke and a definitely weaker version of Naruto, considering the fact that he only had half of Kurama in him at that point, and he hadn't gotten Sage of Six Paths, not to mention the fact that Sasuke also didn't have his Rinnegan by that point. So considering the fact that these both would be very amped up, it would stand to reason that both of them combined would be able to break through virtually any type of defense that would probably even surpass the shield that Obito utilized to protect against their Majestic Attire Susanoo. Now, the only counter to this is speed. The Majestic Attire Susanoo is not that fast, so I do not believe they would be able to just utilize this and take out every single person. However, going up against a character like Battle Beast, they would absolutely be able to destroy him with this combination. The sheer power of the Majestic Attire Susanoo would be way too much for Battle Beast, and I don't believe he'd be able to break through it, not to mention the fact that he doesn't have any insane speed that would allow him to maneuver around it to find an opening to try to break through. Realistically, I think the only characters who would have a shot of breaking through it would be either Thrag, Omni-Man, or Invincible, but in my opinion, that's also more so attributed to their speed versus their sheer strength, because I know Battle Beast is probably stronger than Mark and Omni-Man. However, considering the fact that he doesn't have the speed capabilities that they do, I don't think he'd be able to find the proper opening to be able to maneuver in a way to find an opening to smash through that Majestic Attire Susanoo. Realistically, I feel like any version of Naruto and Sasuke past the point of the 4th Great Shinobi World War would be able to solo the Invincible universe. Now, if we're talking about other versions of Naruto and Sasuke, I feel like it would be a lot closer. If Naruto only had access to Sage Mode and Sasuke only had the Mangekyo Sharingan, they would be a lot more limited. They would have severe time constraints on the amount of chakra and what type of moves they're able to utilize. Then I do believe they would ultimately be defeated in those battles. However, in this hypothetical, they are full-grown adults. They have the ability to utilize all of their abilities. And I didn't even mention the fact that Naruto is able to use Sage Mode as an adult. He can use that with KCM2. He has Sage of Six Paths Chakra. So his sensory ability is absolutely insane. He'd be able to sense virtually every single person on that battlefield. They wouldn't be able to surprise Naruto or Sasuke. And even if someone does unfortunately get the jump on one of them, Sasuke has the power of heavenly hand power to get them out of pretty much any disadvantageous situation. And another thing we have to keep in mind, Sasuke also has a Rinnegan, and although he doesn't realistically use any ability outside of heavenly hand power, we do have to also note that he has utilized the almighty push. He's utilized another version of that, which is planetary devastation. And while I don't think Thrag or Invincible or Omni-Man would be able to be trapped in planetary devastation, I do believe that virtually every other character from the Invincible verse that is weaker than Alan would be able to be stuck inside of planetary devastation and not be able to escape from it. Not to mention the fact that if anyone does get close to Naruto and Sasuke, Sasuke could just use almighty push to push them away. And not only that, Sasuke could also use catastrophic planetary devastation, where he summons literal meteors that come down and will absolutely destroy and eviscerate everything. And again, I know that probably wouldn't do anything to Thrag or Invincible or even Omni-Man. However, it would definitely take out a lot of the cannon fodder, a lot of the background characters, because again, this isn't just Naruto and Sasuke taking on Thrag, because that in of itself is extremely absurd, but this is Naruto and Sasuke being able to solo the entire Invincible verse. So them taking out multiple enemies in a very high quantity would be something that was very necessary. And considering the fact that both of them have some extremely powerful jutsu that can spread over a very wide field, this would be something that I feel like would be utilized very early on, similar to how I believe the Amaterasu would be utilized very early on for Sasuke to try to control the battlefield. And keep in mind, a lot of these things don't get utilized in Boruto. Number one, because taijutsu wanted to be more of a focus. However, number two, they're going against characters who can absorb ninjutsu. So yes, I know they usually don't utilize these abilities, but it's because they realistically can't. Any of these abilities would be rendered useless against someone who can just absorb them. However, to my knowledge, there's no one in Invincible that can absorb any jutsu. So that's why, in my opinion, if it is any version past the point of the Fourth Great Shinobi World War, these two characters would absolutely solo the Invincible universe, and not a single character would be left standing. And I truly believe that Naruto and Sasuke would receive relatively low damage from this battle, even going up against an entire verse. But I'm interested to hear from all of you. Do you agree that Naruto and Sasuke are just too powerful for Invincible? Or do you think there are some characters from Invincible that would be able to overwhelm them? And if that's the case, who do you think from Invincible could truly stand up to Naruto and Sasuke? Let me know in the comments below. And while you guys are down there, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. And I'll see all of you in the next video. Goodbye.